Hello there guys, how's it going? I've got a replay today. A lovely 1v1 replay featuring InitialMink and Fathom. And you know what? I've got about 1 million replays from both of these guys, so... You know, I figured I'll put them together. I'm not able to cast literally every single replay, Fathom, Mink, that you send in, because you've sent in so many. But I can cast a few of them, and I figure I might as well combine it here. We'll do a Fathom versus Mink replay. Now, because I've got so many replays featuring you guys, I don't even remember which one of you sent this in, so I'm not sure who's going to win this one, and hopefully it's not too one-sided. But I figured this is also a good replay because it showcases the Ashes of Typhon Redux as well. So not too much different with this map, to be honest, compared to the original. The main difference is that this side here is more opened up. On the original, you just sort of had this corridor, and everything like west of these pillars was shut. And the VPs then were here and here. So you had this situation where you could get the 2-cap and hold it quite easily in the late game. Now we've got triple contested VPs, which is something that I keep saying I really like. So yeah, I like that change. It's a very simple change, but I like it. I think if you have triple contested VPs, rather than having VPs that are positioned together and are easy to defend, I think it makes the early game and the mid game more important. Or at least, it makes VPs less important in the early game. I suppose it makes fighting over VPs in the early game less important, because you can't just close out the game easily by doing a 2-to-1 cap. I don't know. Anyway, I like contested VPs. But what's going on for the build so far? Okay, already we're seeing weird shit from Fathom. Now, he's basically ceded all of the map control because he's only opted to go for 2 default boys rather than 3, which you would typically expect from the Orcs, rushing for the Storm Boys. So I'm really curious where Fathom is going to take this build. If he chooses to get another squad of basic boys, which right now he could get another one, then his build will be completely inefficient because he'd have been better off just getting the boys in the first place, having more map control, and then that would counteract the fact that he could potentially have dropped gens earlier. Stormboy is now having to fight the Chaos Lord, which actually, as you can see, goes pretty well for them. He does get the kill a week. Stormboys try and dodge it with a jump. That was a big fuck up, because it basically just wasted a load of their DPS, and it still healed the CL. But in spite of that, look at that, the Stormboys still force off the Chaos Lord. This is the problem with the Chaos Lord, right? He's so shit against melee. Everyone says, oh, he's so good against melee. No, he isn't. Not at all. He didn't proc a lot of specials. So that... Look how little damage these Storm Boys took, meleeing the Chaos Lord, and the Chaos Lord got the kill of the week. Imagine if they dodged the kill of the week, how bad the Chaos Lord would have done. He's so bad against melee. And if the melee is not actually attacking the Chaos Lord and just chasing his ranged troops, then the Chaos Lord does even less, because his actual damage versus kiting units is just abysmal. Until he gets Combi Bowler. And yes, okay, he does decent damage against fleeing things with a Combi Bowler, but then you just invested 30 power, you could just do that damage to the Plague Champion out of the gate. But I see what Fathom's doing here. He's gone for the Pain Boy, so that's another tier 1.5 option. So far this makes sense. Obviously skipping the initial boy. I'm not saying it's an optimal build. It does allow him to get the power generators up earlier though. Now I would also like to see a bunch of war gear, because this build that Fathom's gone for, even though he's spending less requisition early on, it actually ends up being a power intensive build, because the whole reason why you spend less rec early on, oh look at the power of the Bang Bang Hammer. Stormboys were already really kicking ass. Once again, the Chaos Lord gets wrecked. What did he have? Okay, so he had his tanky armor on the way, the Harness of Rage. That's really unfortunate actually, because that's 25 power down the drain. And now that's stuck. InitialMink can't cancel that war gear. Wow, he had the Dark Halo as well. Damn. So he's gone full tanky melee on the Chaos Lord, which I don't like that by InitialMink, because right now the problem is you're making the Chaos Lord tanky, but he doesn't do any damage, and his abilities are just not very good against melee. And the primary threat here from Fathom is melee. Now this build is going to be very strong when you get into tier 2 if you take the Lightning Claws. The Orcs will not want to melee him then. With the Lightning Claws, he's very scary in melee. They attack really quick, so he's going to constantly regen his shield. He's going to be a pain in the ass. But for tier 1, which is where the problem is right now, because InitialMink is really being pushed back, he needs damage. And the Chaos Lord doesn't have any damage, so... Look, I just don't think it's going to be very effective. I think this is a lot of wasted resources into something relatively useless. You see here, use your choppers going down. Unfortunately, no heal from the Pain Boy because he's already used his heal too often. He's out of energy. But look at this. All this investment in the Chaos Lord, and the Chaos Lord still has to flee. He is not a melee counter. You go for the tanky melee Chaos Lord if the enemy has a lot of ranged units, but for whatever reason is struggling to DPS down your Chaos Lord. That's when you go for the tanky melee Chaos Lord. Because in such instances, he gets a lot of value just tying up enemies. But right now, there's no value in tying up the enemies. The only ranged threat is a naked shooter boy squad. You know? It's just like, that's not relevant. The problem here for Milk? Oh my god. The problem for Mink is all the melee. So yeah, I don't like this choice. I'd like to have seen Noise Marines and more AC ticks as well. I find the Grenade Launcher Heretics a very interesting choice. Don't forget interesting, I find it a bad choice as well. I think InitialMink's build here is really bad. He then builds Havocs later than the opponent gets out Storm Boys plus Pain Boys. I mean, that's just not gonna... doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. I don't get it. And now he's going for double Havocs. I have to assume that's a Overwatch mistake. Maybe it's not, because obviously layered suppression means you can counter the Storm Boys, but these Havocs are coming out so late because he's invested 55 power into these two. Or is it 50 power? 25 each now, maybe. Even just 50 power, for God's sake. That's so much. That 50 power should have gone to the Havocs. And Mink's actually really far behind on tech right now. Very low on requisition, very good on power, surprisingly. I don't know, he must have bled a lot. I don't think he got gen bashed too much. Sluggers took out one gen there, but I think that's pretty much all that's happened for the gen bashing. So he has to have bled quite a bit. Maybe this was an Overwatch mistake, because look, he's now building a third one. There's no way that he could be intentionally building a third Havoc. I mean, honestly, right now, this game is looking incredibly Fathom favoured. I guess... Oh my god, he actually gets triple Havocs as well. What? Oh my... How does Fathom not just, like, win this game as soon as the Death Dread comes out? I would assume that the Death Dread would come out, it just... You hit Q, you charge over to the gen farm with burners and bits. Mink hasn't even started tier 2 yet. Burn down his gen farm, and then what's he gonna do? You've got the extra energy regen now from the stronger Git source. You got your Knob and your Storm Boys who've been kicking ass all game. I mean... Okay, triple Havocs is a bit much. One Storm Boy isn't going to counter that. I mean, look at this. I can see these being annoying in tier 2 if they all get, like, autocannons. But... I don't know, Fathom's just so far ahead in tech. I don't know what Mink can do. Triple autocannon, and then get Lightning Claws on the Chaos Lord to make him actually unkillable in melee. That could be a nice tech for Mink. But this Death Dread needs to just move straight over to the power farm, get rid of all the power. I guess the nice thing for Chaos is they're not super reliant on power. You know, even if he loses all of his power, the autocannons aren't too expensive, and Plague Marines are only, what, 40 power? They're mostly requisition. And then that would give him a fairly decent versatile force against basically everything. I think Fathom might actually, in this case, believe it or not, want stick bombers. I don't know the last time I ever said that. It's super rare to want stick bombers. Because normally the Weird Boy is perfectly sufficient as artillery, and his passive attack, if enemies are camping in cover, it will do great damage. It'll knock them out of cover. It's fine, and it doesn't cost red like the stick bombers. Oh, nice awareness there from Fathom. Actually really unlucky not to wipe out the Havoc there. But the problem with the Weird Boy is that he can be tied up in melee, whereas the sticks can't. And he doesn't have the same range as the stick bombers. And he also just doesn't have quite as much damage. So I actually think in this instance, against triple Havocs, stick bombers might actually be a really good choice. But yeah, splash damage there from the Death Dread wipes out one of the Havocs. This is looking so rough for Mink. Thing is, Fathom might be a little bit overcommitting right now to the Gen Bash. He is clearly neglecting the VPs. So the Naked Shooters got wiped down here by GL ticks and AC ticks. These Heretics are doing a great job controlling the VPs. It is a 3-0 cap. Obviously the Storm Boys are going to take the middle. And now Fathom's getting a truck. Okay, I can kind of see how Mink could get the comeback here. This is a really bad choice. You don't want a truck. No way. No, this truck's an awful choice. I assume he wants it because he just wants more map control, but there's barely anything to put in the truck. The Storm Boys can just jump around anyway, especially over all the terrain on this map. You don't want them in the truck. So you're going to get a truck? What, just to escort your Slugger Boys? Why? I think you need more manpower, Fathom. I think Stick Bombers actually would be legit. If they encountered the CSM, they can 1v1 them because Stick Bombers are actually okay in melee. And obviously they'll help you against these annoying Havocs. This Dreadnought is going to be a problem as well. There's no AV on the field bar the heavy melee from the Death Dread and the heavy melee from the Stormboy Knob. But yeah, that's not going to be very... Wait. Why can I not see the Dreadnought? That's weird. Oh, there he is. What the fuck? That was very strange. I was going to say, even against the default Chaos Dreadnought, this heavy melee is not going to do well because the default Chaos Dreadnought gets 20% melee resist, but certainly now it's got the Mark of Khorne. These guys have got no chance. Stormboys do not want to go anywhere near this thing. So obviously now you need to get some tank busters to try and deal with this. Beamy Looter is a cheap option, but it's not very good. It's just going to get tied up, especially with the tanky Chaos Lord hanging around. You need mobile AV, so he really needs to get some tank busters. And I think he's going to be regretting this War Truck quite a bit. So the War Truck did go back and pick up the Sluggers. Yep. Stormboy's going to jump out of there. They got their Bomber Boys upgrade. Well, improved rocket packs as it's called. And you see, not only does it give them Bomber Boys, it increases their jump range by 15, which honestly is huge. Really powerful upgrade, that one. We're getting the autocannons. I think he started the upgrade but had to cancel it. Scared of the War Truck, as he should be, because there are Sluggers in there. They will kill the Havocs very quickly if they don't retreat. But Mink is now completely out of power. You know, he's only got this power node, which is going to be very soon bashed. And obviously he's now spent 150 power on this Chaos Dreadnought, so he better put in some work. And honestly, this is kind of a big map for a Chaos Dreadnought. It's done a lot of running around so far, and not a lot of killing. Which is often the problem with these melee walkers. They're great if the enemy has to fight them, but they don't need to fight them. And you know what? The War Truck could actually come in quite handy now if Fathom got tank busters and just uses the tank busters with the truck to kite the Chaos Dreadnought. It's a little bit macro intensive, but in theory, if you do macro it properly, it's basically immune to the Chaos Dreadnought. But he's going to be teching up anyway, so Fathom's taking a bit of a risky play here. He's opting for his tier 3 tech, but he doesn't really have any counter to the Chaos Dreadnought right now, so he risks losing a lot of map control. And VPs are getting somewhat low. But we actually see the Blood Maul. Interesting. I find that... I don't understand that. Now, the Blood Maul is an interesting one because it actually does more damage per hit than the Lightning Claws, which makes it better against kiting enemies. Which, ironically, makes it better against ranged troops in terms of DPS, but the ability is better against melee because it knocks them back further and it stuns them, and you don't really want to do that to ranged troops, you just want to kill them, right? The problem is there's no synergy with the build. The Blood Maul hits really slowly, and the Harness of Rage gives you energy every time you hit, which then fuels your halo to make you tankier. So if you have the Lightning Claws, you hit like twice as fast, so you can literally get double the energy to fuel your halo. So I don't like that choice. Lightning claws are perfectly fine at killing melee as well. Alright, well that was a weird micro of the war truck. Facing backwards. Gets took out by the las cannon. Was that some ticks that just got wiped there? I don't even know. Or was that a havoc? I was looking all over the place, but not right in front of me. I was looking at these Storm Boys, having a bit of skirmish with the Chaos Lord. Now that the Chaos Lord does have an upgraded tier 2 weapon, though, these Storm Boys really don't want to fight him. Now he is really scary in melee. You have to shoot that fucker. You do not want to melee him. Only the Death Tread can take him out with vehicle armor. We're going to see Commandos. Okay, Death Tread's turning around to fight. I don't think it wants this fight. Oh god, certainly not when there's a las cannon. That was a bit of a fuck up from Fathom. Is he gonna get out? I think he might actually get out. Wow, he's gonna. Oh, that's really lucky. Maybe call in some grots to repair that up, because you kind of need the Slugger Boys to stay on the map control. I'm getting a little bit worried regarding the map control for Fathom. Yeah, you see this Chaos Lord is being a real pain now. You just can't kill him because he's got no ranged units. Okay, this is good, yep. He's getting the repair crew, which is smart. So leave the grots then to focus on the repairs, and then sluggers can actually get on with capping the map. But that Chaos Lord's going to be a problem. Especially because his only ranged units right now are the Commandos, right? But the Commandos are also his only AV. So it's a bit awkward. If Mink keeps his Chaos Dreadnought and his Chaos Lord split up, then it's very annoying for Fathom because he kind of wants his Commandos in both places. For that reason, it would actually be a decent idea for Fathom to get another Commando squad. Alternatively, you could get Flash Gits, which would do a little bit better against the Chaos Lord, but obviously they're useless against the Dreadnought. So I would just get double Commandos. They also cap faster, so a lot of late game utility. This is very quickly becoming a VP focused game. We're looking at around 160 VPs for both players here. Let's see how this Chaos Lord does with the Pain Boy support here for the Storm Boys. Oh no, and the Commandos here as well. Yeah, Chaos Lord can't take this on. This is now just too much DPS. So yeah, Chaos Lord is forced off there. As I say, the Commandos can definitely help deal with him, but they can't be in two places at once. And if the Commandos are down here, you have nothing to kill the Chaos Dreadnought, which kills the War Boss. Probably going to kill some heretics now. Oh, he kills one unlucky heretic. Poor bastard, wrong place, wrong time there. We've got these Zinch Marines up top. They're not going to be able to hold off against the Sluggers, not on their own. They just don't have the damage. The Sluggers are just going to charge in. Okay, all the Sluggers are just going to stand there and cap, which is definitely a mistake. I mean, at the very least, the Death Dread should have gone in first to tie up the Zinch Marines whilst the Sluggers capped. We're just looking at micro mishaps here because we do have engagements going on. So Fathom is securing the bottom and he has a Fluid Tank, which is actually a really nice pick because that is going to be able to kill the Chaos Dreadnought. We see a Blastmaster Noise Marine coming out from Mink. He obviously wants to get this to deny the VP caps for Fathom. The Blastmaster has this huge range and it does knockback. So if you're trying to cap, well, it's just going to knock you over and it's going to kill you, so it stops the cap. Love the Daka coming out for the Commandos there, knocking the Blastmaster over. Death Dread is going to try and put some damage onto him. Gets a beautiful special attack, but he is now snared by this las cannon. You know, this Havoc las cannon has put in so much work. Just seems to be in the right place at all the right times. Probably aided by that Corn Worship there. Once again, oh my god, is the Death Dread going to get out? Blastmaster, oh, Blastmaster. Paying for itself there, taking out the Burners and Bits Death Dread, and I think that is quite valuable. That thing was doing a lot of work. Grots should be decapping the point. They can't cap the point, and they cap slower than most units, but they can decap points. So they should probably get on with decapping that VP, because VPs are looking very precarious now for the Chaos player Mink. No, wait, I'm looking at the VPs wrong. Whoops, they're looking bad for Fathom. Yeah, so he really needs to get his Grots onto the point. Only 60 for him, 160 for Mink. So, yeah, the Las Havocs are just zoning out the tank right now, so it can't hunt down this Chaos Dreadnought. I'm assuming there is a lack of line of sight here, because of course the Blastmaster was in range. Blastmaster on the Grots! That's a lot of dead Grots. If that was a clean hit, that would have wiped them all out instantly. You see there the heretics moved up, suddenly he got line of sight onto the tank, and there you go, the Blastmaster can put in some work. However, the looted tank still has that boom shot, which is going to deter the heretics from being able to capture the VP, and we remain on a 1-to-1 cap. Now Sluggers should just charge in here, yeah, as long as they force off the Blastmaster, then they can just run through. As soon as the last cannon's forced off, which it is, now the looted tank is free to just shoot away at this Khorne Dreadnought and kite it. And this is the best counter to it. However, we do have Plague Marines coming out. Needs to try and disrupt these, honestly, with the Sluggers. I know it's a little bit risky because there's a Khorne Dreadnought here, but I think it is necessary. Commandos should probably just tie up the Plague Marines in melee themselves. Commandos do about the same damage as Slugger Boys in melee. Obviously, they don't have the huge damage in the knob. But actually a really good blood sacrifice there. Let's see what's going down the bomb. We've got the Chaos Lord coming out again versus the Storm Boys. The Storm Boys are a little beat up because they already had a bit of a tango with the Chaos Lord before, forcing him off. We see the Blood Maw being used, its ability. Now this Storm Boy knob's taking a lot of damage. Ard Boys has been used on him to reduce the amount of damage that he takes. Oh, there he goes, he's dead. Yeah, these Storm Boys are fucked. As I say, now he's got the full upgrades. You can't beat the Chaos Lord in melee there, even without the Lightning Claws, and he'd be even stronger with that. Really nice positioning here from Mink, making sure that his Plague Marines are facing in the correct direction whilst capping. Look at that. Huge damage for the looted tank, deterring it, and Mink is actually... Oh my god, Fathom concedes! Wow, the concede from Fathom! I mean, it was going to be a 3-0 cap. He was behind on VPs with only 55 VPs to the 160 of Mink, and he's outnumbered. Sluggers were level 4, Stompers level 4. I feel like the War Boss didn't achieve enough. I think Angry Bits, Power Claw, War Boss would have been pretty good. Could have used him in the mid here, dealing with the Plague Marines, forcing off these setup teams. I feel like I didn't really see the War Boss do a whole lot. And, you know, Angry Bits... Cyborg implants for the stun and a Power Claw War Boss would do pretty good against the Bang Bang Hammer Chaos Lord. Probably would lose 1v1 still, because this guy's regenning energy, which then fuels his Halo, and the War Boss isn't regenning HP much. But he would help, and you can stun the CL with your Cyborg implants, and then your Storm Boys get time to put on a load of DPS. But yeah, I'm actually surprised. I guess... he's basically out of red. His tank has practically no HP. Yeah, it's a pretty bad situation for Fathom. But I think maybe he could have ratted his way out of it. You know, Commandos go over here, infiltrated, they can decap this very quickly. There's nothing to defend it. Chaos Dread's very low on HP. Get a good flank with your Storm Boys over here. Like I say, maybe send Sluggers and the War Boss to kill the Chaos Lord. I think there was potential, a little bit premature of a concede from Fathom there, but there you have it. That was a game. I guess this was sent in by Mink? I don't know, maybe it was sent in by Fathom. Who knows? Guys, which one of you sent this in? I'll try and cast a couple more of your games, but... God, they've got a lot. Anyway, thank you for tuning in, folks. That is going to be all from me, boy Torpid, today. Please leave a like, please leave a comment, and if you want more exclusive content, check out the Patreon. Torpid out.